Hi everyone, welcome. We're down here in my wormery, and when you see this little diagram over here, then you always know that we're preparing to check in on my container of mixed red worms, because it's only in here, it's only with the mixed red worms that we maintain this really cool document showing everything that's been fed over the entire lifetime of the system, and each of those feedings with a little counter next to it even, showing how long something has been around. And when sun's gone, it's stricken, so it's only the things that you can actually still see without a strikeout that are things that we've been encountering. But if something suddenly is gone, then we'll strike it off. One of the interesting things is how this pepper stem is in here, and it just reminded me that one of the things that they're getting today, right there, a pepper stem. So I really wanted to already, I've already updated this in the computer, but I had since printed this out already. But can I write upside down? I don't think so. So doesn't matter. I've already changed it in the computer to show that we're also including, even though there's only one, a pepper stem. The rest of the stuff is melon and strawberry, and then and maybe we'll include some grit. I don't know why, but for some reason I feel like perhaps we've been a little bit stingy or kind of lacking in the application of grit in here. So let's get to feeding these little guys. And yes, the way we left off last time was me hemming and hawing as to whether or not I was going to apply a plastic covering to the system. I couldn't decide, so right there, that's showing us that I did eventually come back in here with a bubble wrap covering, and that was because we had noticed how the system had just about the right moisture level. We didn't want to see any excessive drying happening in here, so we protected the system from losing its moisture through evaporation by putting the plastic on. And whenever you do that, you're going to see a good bit of wear on stuff. Look at those holes that they've burned through on this thing. So as we do customarily, they'll always get the diagram, but the old one will get reused as a more interesting thing. We'll use it as bedding down in the feeding. And we'll hang on to this because today I don't have coffee, but we'll use that again to indicate where we last fed. So this is where we fed last time, 12 days ago. And 12 days ago, what they got was sort of a carbon copy of the previous feeding, because they got banana peel and coffee, and then even the previous time to that, 24 days ago, they got pretty much the same thing, banana peel, coffee. And then there's other things in here which we'll encounter, and it'll be nice to be able to look over there and immediately know how long it's been in the worm bin. So, before we apply today's feeding over on this side, we've got to open up that side anyway to put the feeding in the right place. Before we do that, let's see how the 12 days has held up over here. Oh, here we go, pepper stem. Just one of those things that's going to stick around, It's 105 days now. Clearly identifiable. The whole inside of it is hollowed out, but oh wow, nice. Put all those worms in there. They do seem to take time to break one of these things down. So one thing that seemed weird last time was how that bread that you saw listed over here, was it bread over on this side? No, bread over on that side. So the bread seemed like we were still seeing leftovers of bread, but after another 12 days I would assume it's probably gone. Banana stem's holding up good. There's the stem. Here's some pumpkin stem. I wonder if this might be part of the old diagram. Can we read it if it is? Just the whiteness of the paper somehow makes me wonder, but it's hard to say. Even unfolding it perhaps would help us better see what it is. Whatever, it's bedding. It's got a texture to it. I wonder if it's paper towel. That kind of rings a bell. Something about them getting a little bonus piece of bedding, which was a piece of paper towel. So stems of Brussels sprout, more bedding. Let's not be too disruptive. I mean, oh geez, listen to me say that as I excavate the whole feeding zone. So, I mean, by that I wanted to just sort of focus on the progress of the things that have been put in here. Stem of Brussels sprout, 60 days now, almost 2 months, or approximately 2 months basically. And another one that had already been in there earlier, broken down already. So, little bits of banana peel over here. I think they got 2 banana peels last time, so that's probably why we're seeing so much of that. More leftover bedding, paper type stuff. So they're doing a nice job. Clearly there's leftovers, but leftovers of things that are going to take months to break down, you know. Who knows? Pumpkin stem, maybe it'll take years. Some of them seem like they're more porous and more likely to get infiltrated to the bacteria that helps break it down from the inside even. Other stuff feels so much more dense, like it's going to resist. So, alright, we've indulged our curiosity on inspecting how 12 days has done on a couple banana peels. I think it would have been pretty predictable either way. Pepper stem. So let's just throw everything back into the feeding zone where it belongs on that side. Very disruptive check-in. But I resisted the urge. I resisted the urge to break apart that stem of Brussels sprout. I'm definitely curious to see what the inside of it looks like. I mean, we kind of know because we already explored one previously when we shattered it, but this one we're going to just kind of let it go. If it's holding together this long already after 60 days, let's see how long it's able to continue. Definitely feels soft and squishy. I mean, perhaps it is just hollow at this point. I don't know. I think it's like bamboo where it's got these little chambers or something, so I don't think it's hollow all the way through. I don't know. It's kind of a weird material that I just really never put into my worm bins. But I had a couple chunks of this stuff, so pepper stem. So let's bury this stuff and get on to the feeding. Oh, looks like we missed a number of things here. What else did we miss? Alright. Doesn't have to be buried too deep. In fact, it doesn't even really need to be buried at all. It almost seems like if you leave things at the surface, they're more likely to see traffic. So let's get on to feeding these little guys. Down here, we've got an interesting thing, a gourd, which we finally punctured the side of last time, 12 days ago. There was all this fluid inside of it. There were little seeds. And a whole bunch of the fluid that was in there poured out. A good bit of it was left in there, too, to let its insides continue to soak nicely. Banana stem. What else do we have here? Avocado. Avocado. I think that's what this might be too. This seems like the stem of a pepper or a pumpkin. I think we've been looking at that and thinking that it might be the stem of pumpkin. And other avocado bits and pieces. Banana stem, banana peel coming along slowly. And I think we've created enough space here to put today's feeding in. This is one of the spheres of corn cob, which at this point, 117 days in the bin. We've been bumping into ones that we've shattered by accident, but that's one of the ones that's holding together still. If we find any other ones, it'll be interesting to see how they're holding up. I think we had like 3 or 4 of them in here. And we've bumped into ones, we've found bits and pieces of broken ones. And who knows, maybe that's the last surviving one. You can see I'm a little bit rough sometimes. I could easily be plowing right next to one or through one and breaking it up without even knowing it. Or whatever, but I don't know. Maybe it is the last one. I don't seem to have found any other ones. But we gotta make a pretty good bit of space for all this yummy food going in here today. There we go. We're gonna be using this diagram as foundational bedding to drop today's food into. And this other weird stuff that I've got here, which I'd like to start doing away with. I don't even know if I'm going to mention it in the logging, because there'd be no way to even see leftovers of this sort of like pastry batter. It's got like the consistency of mousse after sitting around here for the past few days, but I wanted to try to get it into every one of my feedings until it's gone, so it's not just sitting around here getting nasty. But I think that's a nice fair bit, and I don't know why, but for whatever reason I've had this feeling like perhaps grit has been on the shy side as far as its application, so I figured we would definitely put grit in today, just in case we have been neglectful and given them enough. Although some people will even say that the worms will do just fine even if they don't get grit, so perhaps it's just a nice little bonus for them. So I think that's it. Let's cover up, get our feeding zone indicator back in here. Good thing it's holding up despite being covered, and having that plastic overhead and letting the moisture recirculate, sets up a pretty nice damp environment where worm traffic could result in a piece of paper like that getting nibbled away. So let's see, how did we do this last time? I think it was already underneath the top covering of paper, right? Because at one point prior to the bubble wrap, this was our only top covering for a while. We must have done it that way to allow the system to lose some of what might have been seen as excess moisture. But now that we're back with the plastic, I think we're seeing almost what I would consider to be like an ideal moisture level in here. So that's it for the video, everyone. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I got a few things to get taken care of as far as getting cleaned up and put away, but I'm not going to keep you around for that. That's boring. But before I go really quick, let me just say thank you. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, as always, please don't forget to leave me a quick thumbs up before you go. That's always really appreciated. And if you haven't done so already, please also consider subscribing to the channel. That's very much appreciated as well. All right, everyone, have a great day. Thanks for watching. Bye now.